Is Russia's geopolitical strategy a masterstroke or a desperate attempt to reclaim its lost glory? To delve into this, let's journey back in time. The late 19th century was a period of tremendous change, and at the heart of these changes was Halford Mackinder, a British geographer. This visionary man was making a prediction that seemed almost fantastical. He posited that if Russia could succeed in constructing a formidable maritime fleet, it could shift the global balance of power in its favor. Fast forward to our times, and his prediction seems to be of significant relevance. The Russian bear has not softened its focus on maritime prowess. The country is steadfast in its resolve to dispel an encirclement policy, which it believes is being enforced by NATO. The Russian political landscape likens this encirclement to being shackled to a pillar of infamy, a symbol of disgrace or reproach. It was this fervor to liberate Russia from the encirclement that eventually led to Russia's annexation of Crimea. This was a step that shocked the world but was merely a piece in the intricate puzzle of Russia's geopolitical strategy. But it didn't stop there. Putin, the country's strongman, delivered speeches that dripped with criticism of the malevolent and invading West. These speeches were the precursor to the invasion of Ukraine. From the Ural Mountains to the Siberian plains, Russia has always been uncomfortable with its narrow borders. It yearns for a defense-in-depth strategy, similar to the one it deployed against the likes of Napoleon and Hitler. In order to achieve this, Russia is intent on constructing buffer zones. Consider regions like Kaliningrad, Belarus, Ukraine, Transnistria, South Ossetia, and Abkhazia. All these areas provide Russia an opportunity to wield influence and gain access to significant sea routes such as the Baltic Sea, the Black Sea, and the Caspian Sea. This is a deeply strategic move designed to break the encirclement by NATO states such as Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, Poland, Romania, and Bulgaria, which happen to be in close proximity to Russia. In Putin's mind, Ukraine and Georgia are the still soft parts of the NATO fence. This belief stems from a perception that NATO could potentially turn these nations into buffer states, thereby granting Russia an unprecedented level of control. If this were to occur, the balance of power would shift dramatically in Russia's favor. This idea is deeply entrenched in Putin's mindset and is largely underpinned by a fear of losing influence over Central and Eastern Europe, a region that has increasingly gravitated towards NATO in recent years. From Putin's standpoint, the incorporation of these states into NATO was nothing short of a catastrophe for Russia. This development signaled a dramatic loss of control for Russia over a vital region, the shores of the Pontic-Baltic corridor. The strategic significance of this maritime region cannot be overstated, as it represents a critical juncture in terms of trade and military operations. In response to this perceived disaster, Putin has taken drastic action. He has overseen the invasions of Georgia in 2008, Ukraine in 2014, and again in 2022. These aggressive moves, in Putin's view, were conceived as a means of occupying substantial portions of the Georgian and Ukrainian coastlines on the Black Sea. But why would Putin undertake such aggressive maneuvers? What could possibly drive him to risk international condemnation and potential conflict? The answer to these questions is remarkably simple. Russia is intent on reclaiming its status as a global powerhouse, and Putin believes that this can only be accomplished by ensuring unimpeded access to the open seas. Russia believes it can only assert itself as a great power by ensuring full access to free seas. In a speech in March 2014, Putin asserted his conviction that the containment strategy against his nation, a tactic that has persisted since the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries, was still very much in effect. He voiced his critique against NATO and the EU, accusing them of consistently pushing Russia into a corner, exploiting its geopolitical vulnerabilities. But in the same breath, he also cautioned that there were certain boundaries that should not be trespassed. Putin's speech was not just a critique, but also a declaration of Russia's strategic interests. He outlined the various regions that he considered to be part of a security belt for Russia along the Black Sea. These included the controversial separatist territories in eastern and southern Ukraine, the Crimean Peninsula, which caught the world's attention in 2014, The Transnistrian separatist region that has long been a thorn in Moldova's side, and the breakaway regions of Abkhazia and South Ossetia in Georgia, which have been flashpoints for conflict in the Caucasus. In Putin's strategic vision, Ukraine is a pivotal piece in the geopolitical puzzle. Commenting on this, Brzezinski, a renowned political scientist, once noted that without Ukraine, Russia ceases to hold the status of an empire. But when Ukraine is accounted for, Russia automatically gains the stature of one. It is within this context that Putin's aspiration for Ukraine becomes clear. In order to solidify Russia's imperial status, Putin's primary interest lies in Ukraine losing its access to the Black Sea. So, what can we take away from all this? Russia's geopolitical strategy aims to escape NATO's hold, recapture lost power, and re-emerge globally. This involves creating protective zones, securing sea access, and upkeeping formidable naval fleet. Its plans are ambitious, echoing its historical aspiration to be a dominant global figure. But this journey is fraught with obstacles that may either pave the way for its resurgence or push it towards isolation. Whether this will lead to Russia's resurgence or further isolation, only time will tell.